Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Jack Devine. Welcome back to another episode of Office Hours. Today we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, the Dorian mode, all right? And this is a lesson for beginners. So for those of you who are, new to playing extended solos and things like that, I'm going to assume that you have some basis of, some business trying to actually solo. As you have your basics down, your pentatonic minor. I'm going to assume that you've got that under control, and that it's now time to start filling in the gaps between the intervals that are there within the pentatonic minor, and that goes for every position of it. Okay? Trying to do it all with the heavy metal sign here for you guys. So if you're just starting out, this is the lesson for you to understand how to fill in the gaps around this kind of a jam. Like if we're playing over something that sounds like this. That kind of thing, okay? So that's going to be any kind of C minor jam. So that's going to be C with an E flat, okay, or a D sharp in it rather. Okay, so you've got, all right, anytime you hear that, but along the way you're also hearing this note. Okay, you'll hear it right here. Okay. Right? So once you hear that sixth, okay, that's our flat seven. So one note south of there, that's the second that you know. Okay, I've got that. Okay, I'm playing my 335. I'm on both pickups, and I'm going to bring up the bridge so it's kind of hot and bright. Okay. So now we've got our pentatonic minor, and you could live right here the whole time, be fine. Okay, you could live like that your whole life through. Okay, no problems. And by and large, that should comprise the majority of your vocabulary. I'm not disputing the preeminence of pentatonic playing. There's a triple alliteration for you today after Thanksgiving. But what I am going to say is that there is a way of incorporating some of the information in the backing track that can add a certain depth and richness to the ideas that you're looking at. So all we're going to really do is we're going to learn this little shape here along the high E and B strings, and we're going to repeat it in different octaves, all right? And that's going to give us that Dorian flavor that is being implied by the backing track there that includes that sixth. Okay, so we already know we have a minor chord, so that flat 3 is definitely in there. And now we have to just decide whether or not between the minor third and the root, which of these two notes we're going to include in our little snack here. Okay, so versus, I like that second, which by the way happens to be the second degree of the scale, but up in this octave we'd refer to that as the ninth. So now we've got a minor 3, a second, a flat 7, a 6, a root, and a fifth. Okay, and that means we only have one more note to decide whether or not we like this note or this note. And I'm going to say you could get away with both, but this is the primary one that you're going to want. Okay, this sounds cool. Okay, and I would say that that's a little bit more of, getting some static. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to, that sucks. Why? Let's try turning down the volume a little bit, see if that helps. Just tell me if this helps a little bit. Static? Still static? You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to come back on. If anybody's online, bear with me, folks. Here, I was being lazy. I didn't hook up all my shit. Let me just hook up my stuff. I'll be back online about. Oh, you're not hearing static anymore? Yes, static. All right, give me 15 minutes. Not even 15 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, okay, guys? I'll be back. I am so sorry. I took a shortcut and it did. All hallmarks of what happens when 54-year-old men take to the streets. No, take to the internet. Can anybody hear that? Is that sounding better? My apologies, gentlemen and lady. I'm sure there's maybe one girl out there. Let's see whether or not we are getting the kind of information. I'm so sorry. My apologies. This is what happens, folks, when you take shortcuts with audio. Sounds much better. Thank you so much for letting me know, Mike. I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you, which is why I took a little break from all of the Thanksgiving festivities around these parts here and decided that I would check in with the kind folks that have supported me over the last couple of years with this channel, and wanted to welcome you guys back to another episode of Office Hours here on Jacksnax. So here we are today. I wanted to talk about, and we'll edit this for those of you who are tuning in later to get rid of the audio snafu that was happening before. We were talking about C sharp minor and not C sharp minor, C minor, and how we can augment or build upon the pentatonic to create the Dorian sound. Okay, and this is intended for beginners who might not understand how to access some of the more colorful notes on the neck. So over top of a groove like this, all right, this is just out of C. All right, that we'd be looking at going, okay, and therefore, and here. Right? So some of those colorful notes, like this note and that note, right, are the ones I'm talking about. So let me rush through some of the points that I tried to cover before. All right. All we're going to do is we're going to examine the 5 notes that we were going to work with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to figure out the notes between the notes that we aren't going to use. All right. The first one is we're going to listen to the backing track, and we're going to hear this nice little sixth. Okay. That's going to be a dead giveaway here. We're going to listen to this groove. Da, da, da. Okay, so right there within the groove, I'm still hearing the 9 and the 6. So I've got my minor pentatonic plus a 9 and a 6. Okay, so now we've got these 3 notes all at the 10th fret, these 2 at the 11th, these at the 7th, what is that, the 8th? Yep, and then octave. Okay, so once we add all that up, okay, and all I'm doing is I'm going to play some blues. Okay, like that's our blues scale. And include these 2 notes. So now I've got blue note, and then I'm going to add in our 6 and the 9. Now, the real trick is don't overuse the color tones. You use them periodically when you need to increase tension so that you can relieve it into the more predictable sounds of the pentatonic. So let's just try playing a pentatonic line and modifying it just a little bit by adding in, okay? Standard pentatonic line, right? Okay, that's just bending up. Now, let's just add in a couple of notes on the way back down, right? Okay. Oh, I just did a little pull off there from the 7 to the 6, right? And then I just went. So here's a nice little thing that we can do. We see symmetry here. Try that. Okay, watch this. We're going to play just a minor pentatonic lick, and then we're going to literally do this little sequence of, right, something like that, or, right, watch. Okay, so from a beginner's perspective, this is how I learned to incorporate that Dorian sound, is by mixing in these notes, flat 5, all right, and finding them in other octaves. Okay, so that gives us a couple of symmetrical shapes that we can really explore and have fun with. But this first one here between the 8th and 10th fret, that's a nice one. Okay, and we're really not doing too much when you think about it. We're just playing minor pentatonic. We're just adding in this little move. And this one. That should be pretty simple. We're just bending up from our color tone into the more predictable pentatonic sound. All right, now this kind of hammers home a point that I try to make with all of my students that I study with during the week, is that all the information that you're getting pumped into you through YouTube and probably from guitar literature is, oh, don't be a pentatonic player. That's a lie. There's just absolutely no way to make music that we associate with rock guitar without utilizing pentatonics. It's an essential tool. Absolutely 100% essential to what we're talking about doing. What you don't want to do is become a predictable pentatonic guy, okay? You don't want to play the same licks that, you learned on day one and think, oh, I didn't have to evolve, or my playing didn't have to change or get more complicated somehow, okay? So the idea, all right, from this day forward is that you're never content. You're always leaning into what you don't know more than what you do know, all right? You already know it, so there's really no reason to kill yourself. I mean, you can buff it up a little bit before you gig. But let's just take a little look at, like, attacking it from another position, okay? So here's the more basic or beginner, I guess. That's just a minor pentatonic with a blue note, right? That's all that is. So that's nothing you probably don't already know. Right? I might be playing it with a little bit more sass than you're, at this point, but probably not. Probably not. There's only so much you can really do to that, all right? And we're just going to pepper it with that 9 and the 6. And everybody always wonders, why is that the second? I mean, why is that the 9? In this octave, we call it the second. And it's like, that's precisely why. Once we go up the octave from that first note, the root, that's the second. Okay, once we get up to here and here, oddly enough, these two, regardless of their octaves, become referred to as ninths, okay? And just the same way, this is our 6th, and this becomes our 13th. I still call this a 6th, though, by the way, just so you know. And a lot of people, they would call that a raised 4 rather than a sharp 11. It sounds a little pretentious. Hey, I'm glad you caught it too. Is the audio okay there? Is the audio working out for you guys? I'm so sorry I chinced on y'all. Okay, so let's just take a little, whoop. I dropped the pick. All right, so let's just try to find these. Yeah, man. So let's just see if we can figure this out down a position, okay? And I'm going to try to move. There we go, the camera. So instead of tackling it from here, thank you very much for the heads up as to the audio. There were problems earlier. All right, so let's just say we're doing, again, C minor, but we're going to look for those same notes here. Now, let's find out where those pentatonic... Okay, that's our pentatonic. Okay, you should definitely know that. Now let's pepper it with some other stuff, the Dorian goodies. What note is that? B, B flat, A, B, B flat, A. Here's our pentatonic. So we're gonna add that note. Nice. What about that D? We're gonna want that in there. So we got... That's an E. Did that one work it? No, that doesn't make any sense. All right, that's our minor third. Okay, so we've got it. This is literally how you figure it out when you're a kid. All right, and at this point, chronologically, a lot of you are kids. It's okay. It's all right to be young again. There's our 9. Okay, there's C, so we'll come up a whole step, and that's our second degree in the scale. Okay, so now we've got to find our 6 again, and our 5, and there's our root. Okay, now this position is definitely less intuitive in terms of visualizing than this. This symmetry can be really, easy to exploit. But this is kind of nice to, familiarize yourself with. You have to. Okay, here we are. Whoa, that's a major third. We don't want that. Okay. That's our Dorian 6 right there. That's the one we want to focus on right there. So what am I doing? I'm taking advantage of a couple of little, irregularities, right? A lot of people would think, oh, this is an uncomfortable position to play out of. But what you can do is take the things that you're going to view initially as a disadvantage. Okay. Only 2 notes per string here. All right, and then you've got this kind of some symmetry there. If you just learn this little move, this is a pretty fun idea right in here, in this little area. This is something I teach to everybody that studies with me. So paid or free, check it out. Okay, we're going to hammer on from a whole step, pull off to a half step, and then bend up. Okay, here's that sound. If you don't know that trick, I'm going to fly through the internet and slap you. You got to learn that. That is just too clutch. There's 2 things that are important here. We're creating tension and relief right in a split second. The second is that it affords you the ability to do the one thing that the guitar can do that no keyed instrument can do, and that's bend up into the desired pitch from beneath, right? And if you don't learn this technique, you're going to be kind of destined to only use upward vibrato. So let's talk a little bit about this nuance idea. The C note that we're looking at here, right? That's a key tone. We're going to be playing that over our root, right? And we want to give it a little wiggle like that to make it sing. Well, what are we doing? We're taking the C note and we're making it go a little sharp, right? But if we bend up into it, we're coming up from underneath, okay? And that is the way the human voice typically works. So if you want to add a certain vocal-like, sound to your playing,
bending up into the pitch and giving it a little wiggle is a huge component of that. So there we are. So some of those more intense notes, right, they're all bent up. I mean, that was the fourth. See how I'm going? I'm hitting this note from back here, but I'm pre-bent, and I'm giving it wiggle, and it's a kind of sound that you cannot replicate from within the fret. This does not sound the same as this. All right, it has that little... Hey, Craig, happy Thanksgiving, buddy. Let's cream this thing up a little bit more. Give it a little bit more. All right, so this is the idea, is that we're going to bend up through some notes, right? Here's a lick I teach everybody. Okay. So I'm coming over. We're going to bend up. This is like... Woo! I just remember figuring this shit out and thinking, wow, I'm kind of onto something. So you can take it from the ninth and bend up into the flat third. That's up from the flat fifth into the fifth. And that's from the major seventh, oddly, but you can do it from the full if you want. But there's a little pause there as opposed to going. All right, and then I just added this little squiggle bend. This is kind of like, who was the first guy I saw do that? I think Chris Buck was kind of like the first. Okay, and it's a little art, like kind of an affectation. So you bend up, then you let it down and slide back up to where you were, and then back. You can do it anywhere. You can do it on any note, really. Okay, that's the root, and we're still doing it. That's a 1 fret slide, so it shouldn't sound so good, but it does. I'm kind of just blazing through some of the shit, but really the idea is learning to use some of these affectations or ornamentations. I don't care how, whatever you want to call it. It's like a little doohickey that you can slap onto just about any note. that kind of thing, right? And all we're doing is taking it and wiggling it one fret, regardless of, right? It doesn't sound so good if you do it on a wrong note, obviously. You don't want to do it on a wrong note on purpose. We're going from the minor third to the major third. Let's see how that sounds. It probably doesn't sound good. That wouldn't be my tendency. I would probably... I'd be more inclined to do that, but whatever, it's cool. You can do a 2-fret squiggle. So these little squiggles are kind of fun. All right, but you got to know which one to go to. I can do it from here. All right, so let's keep going with our pepper. That's our minor pentatonic, right? That's our 5th position. Okay. That's the same note, right? That's our A. That's the 6th. That's our Dorian 6th. Half step bend. Right? There's our 6 to 7 again. All right, that's a really, really great, ending note. So let's say we're just kind of coming down our... Something like that. We're coming down our pentatonic, flat 5. And ending on our 6th, okay? Okay. So, yeah, I'm approaching it with like a certain degree of confidence and aggression, and that all sells it. Absolutely, 100%. But you got to start experimenting sometime. So get up the balls to make up a little C minor groove here. And then all I did was I peppered it with a little of the information that I knew I was going to be referencing off of the those 2 notes, really, right? Listen to my groove again, right? That's me going here. Let's get the fuzz off of there. Going, right? Just. I think that's what I'm playing. Oh, I did. Bottom. So thumb over and kind of riffing out with this. Again, just kind of including the 9 and the 6 in there. Dissonance. Okay, that's a fun thing to exploit as well. Let's turn the gain back on. Let's just hear what that sounds like when you skip strings within this little symmetry. Remember I was going... But if we skip strings, we're going to get the... Right, then at that point we're going straight to octaves, right? So these 2 together... Yikes! You could also do it this way. That's even more dissonant. All right, so here, let's try that. Yep. Sounds fun. All right. So that's all I'm doing, really. I'm just going to keep going from neighborhood to neighborhood. Minor pentatonic, C minor. There's that A, remember? So that's our first. There's our Dorian sixth. All right, and you may be noticing that I'm doing the same trick over and over and over again. I take the shittiest note there. This is absolutely the most wrong note you could possibly hit over a Dorian chord. That is a huge turd sandwich. Don't take a bite of that. Bend up into the victory note. So the same way you can do this, right? You can go, or you can go, or taking our weakest note and coming up into that sixth. Friction, release. Friction and release. Tension, release. That's it right there. So that's what I was doing. Another total classic move, sliding up into the 9. Triplet. This is my triplet rotational mantra. Totally an essential move. All right, so basically just stems out of the sequence of going. If you grab the low-hanging fruit, right? Doing it here. Or that's the same move. It's just going to make it sound like we're going up into the 9th instead of the 5th. That's the 5th, right? If you can't do that, then you can't. You can do that down any pentatonic shape. There it is again, different shapes. One and triplet, one and triplet. If you don't know it, now you do. This secret to successful stuff is figuring out a cool idea and then quickly figuring out how to populate the entire neck with that idea. All right. So, what we were doing was still back here. Okay, remember that A note. That's our note. That's the one we're most concerned about. That's our Dorian 6, all right? That's the note we want to really milk that sucker. bending up into it, P. Okay. So obviously some other little slick moves that you can do. If you know that you're doing a 1 fret bend, go to another spot on the same string where there's this semitone between, choose the higher of the two, right? So within Dorian, we want to exploit the 7 to the 6. So if we go to the 9 to minor 3, do a 1 fret bend, then tap, we get this effect. Sorry. Okay, so that's a cool thing to deal with. Okay, we can do it here, right, or here, or up an octave, right? I don't do it that often, but it's definitely a fun thing to exploit. So 1 fret bend from 6 to 7, tap on 9, and come down. All right. I'm working up little ideas like that every now and again occur. You know, I don't really do too much with the right hand tapping. I'm more inclined to do things like add another half step on top of a bend. That's what I'm trying to play. Okay, you just practice that. It sounds a lot different. All right. So probably last but not least, the thing I would talk about is exploiting that symmetry that exists across these first 3 strings and the symmetry that exists across these 3 strings. Okay, what did we decide? We decided with the Dorian that we were going to invite the flat 5 to the party. All right, so pentatonic plus blues. So we've got our flat 5, and that appears right here on the B string too. So if we've got it here, we can do 6, 7, root, 2, minor 3, 4, flat 5, 5, 6. All right, and then we can shift positions and come up here and go flat 3, 4, flat 5, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, 2, flat 3, right? Or okay, that's just playing 4s going down. Or here. Okay, and that's just a drill. That's not employing it like creatively. We could do. So by seeing the same shape on 3 different strings, you can sequence it very easily. Right, or going. See how I just did the same little shape? I just made a slight adjustment to accommodate the flat 7 rather than the major 7, right? So I went. And that's how we increase our vocabulary, just taking a simple idea and running it through the the kind of scale shape, right? Just run it up and down. So if we're going to go, let's do that over and over again. Right? 3, 4. Okay, and you're starting to hear the final and probably most complex idea to think about over top of your Dorian sound is that if we've invited our flat 5 friend to the party, all right, and we already have a minor third and a root and a 6, that we have the makings of a diminished sound. Utilizing that flat 5 to create that diminished sound. Very colorful over top of the Dorian sound. Okay, you get that flat 2 happening. It's kind of the most exotic of my concepts that I utilize over top of the Dorian, but that's definitely pretty much all I have is minor pentatonic, and then add in the 6 and the 9. Okay, and then start working with sequences. And then start adding that flat 5 to those sequences. That's our flat 5 right there, or you can do it like this. And you get that exotic sound, okay? And then exploiting that. You can get that exotic diminished sound. All right, and the rest of it is all just polish. Honestly, concept is most important. All right, what did I do there? It was kind of flashy for a second. I went, right, so that's C minor. And then I think I added in something like that. There's our 6. That kind of thing. Whoop. I didn't even know what I did. Anyway, I'm about out of batteries and about out of ideas and advice for you guys. But something I did want to say is thank you. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate anybody who's interested in what I have to say, taking the time to listen and apply themselves. And if they're interested in what I think or how I play, there is ample evidence on my channel here on YouTube. But to be honest, I think I'm, getting kind of tuckered out. I got to figure out a way to get back into playing in more bands and, teaching a little less, to be honest. But I do love teaching. I love sharing. But it does take up an awful lot of time. Today I had some free time. I think I'm going to deal with something as banal as getting a new cell phone. Check this one out. This is my cell phone. This is what I look at all day long. It's all shattered and bent up and doesn't work, so I have to go and kill a whole Sunday fucking sitting there in Williamsburg waiting for some wait 2 hours to spend $1,000 on a fucking phone. It's disgusting. But such is the world I live in, unfortunately. So that's your little funk mantra that you got to get into, is working this thumb over on the root and then bar with the index. And then just experiment with putting down the pinky. Let's get rid of some of this goo. Because let's be honest, if you don't have a decent loop, right, you're never going to get there, okay? So what do I have here? I'm going to just kind of bar this A shape, thumb over, and that deads the A string. One E and a 2 E and a... Again, it all comes back to 16th note grid. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. If you can't play drums with your right hand across these strings, you're going to have a hard time playing notes out of that. If you can't just... Okay, let's clean it up a little bit. Truth is, I'm not really thinking too much about what's going on with the left hand. I'm just kind of holding it down. Boom. I'm trying to make it kind of scream and cry a little bit. Clean it up even a little bit more. I'm playing through a Marshall actually today, or at least a simulation of a Marshall. Maybe get a little creamier here. All right, I just got a warning from my computer. Low output. Low, what do they call it? Low battery. I don't think that's how I had that set up. Oh. That's weird. That's weird. The setting was significantly changed. I think I pulled on it with a cord. Let's see if that sounds any better. I can't believe I just did this whole session with the gain cranked up on the Kemper. In my rush to improve audio for everybody, I ended up totally trashing it by plugging in this cable. And by stepping on the cable, I pulled a knob. And then by pulling the knob, I just went live. And the gain went through the roof. I think what it should have been sounding like the whole time was this. But instead, I think we were up in here. Jesus, no wonder I was sitting there going, what the hell's going on? Why am I sounding so metal today? But I just went with it. All right, folks, look, thanks for everything. I'm a total fucking mess today, obviously, but it's good to check in. Haven't been myself lately, but anyway, I will catch you later, I guess. And if I don't, I don't. I got a gig this Tuesday. If you're here in the city, hey, hopefully you'll come on down and see us play at Hill Country Live at 8 o'clock. Knock 'em Dead is playing, and apparently it's like some kind of coup that we got this gig. I'm not particularly good at promoting, so that's probably why I'm still in my basement. But anyway, maybe if you're in the New York area and you want to come on down and check it out, if you do, bring a friend or two, and maybe we'll make a good impression on these people, and they'll let us have a steady gig. Gigging in New York is not what it used to be, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, I'm going to go upstairs and get ready to go to the Apple store and sit around and wait for some some know-it-all to sell me a phone for $1,000. All right. Cynical and grumpy Jack Devine signing off from Brooklyn, New York, even though I am thankful and appreciative of your participation in my little odyssey here. And once again, my apologies for the shitty audio on the outgoing or the initial run of this episode of Office Hours. All right, I'll catch you later, guys, and happy Thanksgiving, okay? Much love to everybody. Bye-bye.